It's 9:47 p.m. You standing in the kitchen, fridge door open, blue lights spilling across the floor. You're not even hungry, just restless, looking for something. Maybe some leftover pasta, a few crackers, nothing major. But that small decision, eating at 10 p.m. instead of 7, might matter more than you think. We spend so much time worrying about what we eat, the macros, the calories, the ingredient lists, but there's a question we almost never ask. When should we stop? A study published in February 2026 asked that exact question. Researchers took middle-aged and older adults and gave them one simple instruction: stop eating 3 hours before bed. No calorie counting, no food restrictions, no complicated meal plans, just a clock. And what happened next surprised everyone. In just 7.5 weeks, their blood pressure dropped at night. Their heart rates lowered naturally while they slept. And their blood sugar control during the day actually improved. Here's the thing, they didn't change what they ate. They changed when they stopped eating. And that simple shift, it turns out the timing matters a lot. For decades, nutrition science has obsessed over the what. Low-fat, low-carb, Mediterranean, keto, paleo. We've debated ingredients endlessly. But a field called Chrononutrition has been quietly gathering evidence for something different. It's not just what you eat. It's when your body expects to receive it. Your body runs on a circadian rhythm, a 24-hour internal clock that regulates everything from hormone release to how efficiently you metabolize a bowl of pasta. During the day, your body is primed for digestion. Insulin sensitivity is high. Your gut is ready to work. But as evening approaches, that machinery starts to wind down. Your body starts preparing for rest. Melatonin begins to rise. Core temperature drops. And yet, if food keeps arriving, you're asking your system to do two things at once: digest and repair, metabolize and recover. It's like trying to renovate a house while the dinner party is still happening. Something's got to give. And what gives, according to the research, is your cardiovascular system. Your heart doesn't get its nightly maintenance window. Your blood pressure doesn't drop the way it should. Normally, blood pressure dips by 10 to 20% at night. It's called nocturnal dipping, and it's a sign your cardiovascular system is recovering properly. When you eat late, that dipping pattern gets disrupted. Your heart keeps working, your vessels stay constricted, and over time, that added strain accumulates. The 2026 study tracked participants for 7.5 weeks. Those who stopped eating 3 hours before bed showed improved nocturnal blood pressure patterns and better resting heart rates. But here's what really caught my attention. Their blood sugar control during the day also improved, just from shifting when they stopped eating. Nothing else changed. The intervention was simple. Stop eating at least 3 hours before bed. Dim the lights during that window. Extend the overnight fasting period by roughly 2 hours. And that combination, the eating cutoff plus the dimmed environment, seemed to reinforce natural circadian signals. The body knew it was time to shift into recovery mode. This aligns with a larger body of research. A cohort study published in Nature Communications tracked over 100,000 participants from the NutriNet-Santé project in France. They found that eating your last meal after 9 p.m. compared to before 8 p.m. was associated with a higher risk of cardiovascular events, especially among women. And it wasn't just late eating that mattered. Those who had their first meal after 9 a.m. also showed elevated risk. The timing on both ends of the day seemed to matter. Now, this is observational data. We can't say definitively that late eating caused those outcomes. But the pattern is striking, and it's consistent across multiple studies. A meta-analysis published in Frontiers in Nutrition analyzed the effects of time-restricted eating on blood pressure. The findings were significant. Time-restricted eating was shown to decrease systolic blood pressure by 4 to 6 millimeters of mercury compared to usual diets. That might sound small. It's not. According to the researchers, a reduction of that magnitude could translate to reduced mortality rates from heart disease of 8.6 to 13.2% at a population level. Those numbers matter. And here's what's remarkable. Participants in these studies weren't asked to count calories or change their food choices. The intervention was purely about timing. So why does this work? Part of it has to do with how your body processes food at different times of day. Your gut bacteria even have their own circadian rhythms. There's also the insulin factor. When you eat late, insulin levels stay elevated at a time when they should be dropping. That sustained insulin interferes with nighttime fat burning and cellular repair. Your liver also plays a role. It's supposed to shift from processing incoming nutrients to cleaning house overnight. But if food keeps arriving, that maintenance gets postponed. The American Heart Association has weighed in on this too. Their scientific statement on meal timing and frequency acknowledges that eating patterns affect cardiometabolic health. They recommend intentional eating patterns that distribute calories across fewer meals, aligned with circadian rhythm. In other words, earlier and less often may be better than late and grazing. Now, I want to be honest about the limitations here. Most of these studies are relatively short, weeks to months, not years. We're still learning about long-term effects. And one study even found that an 8-hour time-restricted eating window was associated with higher cardiovascular death risk in certain populations. The implementation matters. This isn't a one-size-fits-all prescription. People with diabetes, those on certain medications, or anyone with complex health conditions should absolutely talk to their doctor before making changes. But for many people, the evidence points in a clear direction. Extending the overnight fast and avoiding late meals appears to give the cardiovascular system time to recover. The researchers who conducted the 2026 study put it simply: those who changed their eating schedule experienced noticeable health improvements within weeks. Blood pressure and heart rate dropped more naturally at night. Their bodies became better at controlling blood sugar levels during the day. 7.5 weeks. That's all it took. So, what does this actually mean for you? Let's get practical. The research suggests finishing your last meal at least 3 hours before your typical bedtime. If you usually go to sleep at 10 p.m., you might want to consider wrapping up dinner by 7 p.m. If you're a night owl who sleeps at midnight, 9 p.m. could work as your cutoff. The dimming lights part matters too. In the 2 to 3 hours before bed, consider lowering your home lighting. It reinforces to your body that eating time is over, rest is coming. One approach that many experts recommend is tracking your current eating window for a week before making changes. Just note when you eat your first and last bite each day. You might be surprised. Most people don't realize they're eating at 10 p.m. until they start paying attention. That late-night cracker run adds up. Research also suggests shifting your largest meal earlier in the day may be beneficial. A bigger lunch, a lighter dinner. It aligns with when your metabolism is most active. And if late eating is sometimes unavoidable, life happens, schedules shift. You might want to choose lighter foods that are easier to digest. Soup. Salad. Something your body can process without too much effort. The key insight from this research isn't about restriction, it's about alignment, working with your body's natural rhythms rather than against them. That's a fundamentally different approach. And the beautiful thing is, this doesn't require willpower around food choices. You're not fighting cravings or counting grams, you're just done eating earlier. If you found this useful, hit subscribe. We dig into research like this every week. And honestly, I find the meal timing stuff fascinating because it's so simple. I want to be clear though. Everyone's body responds differently. What works in a controlled study may need adjusting for your specific situation. That's a conversation for you and your healthcare provider. If you take medications that need to be taken with food, or if you're managing blood sugar issues, you'll definitely want to discuss any meal timing changes with your doctor first. There's also the social reality to consider. Many cultures eat dinner late. Family schedules vary. Sometimes the only time everyone sits down together is 8:30 p.m. This research isn't about guilt, it's about information. What you do with it depends on your life, your values, and what trade-offs make sense for you. But the evidence is worth paying attention to. Multiple studies, different populations, consistent findings. When we eat may matter as much as what we eat, maybe more. Remember that kitchen scene from the beginning? The fridge door open, blue light spilling out, you're not even hungry, just restless? Next time that moment happens, you might pause, not because snacking is forbidden, but because your heart might appreciate the break. Your body has rhythms, your heart has needs. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for your health is simply stop 3 hours earlier. This content is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor before making changes to your health routine. Thanks for listening.